And we're back. Greetings, Royal family. Thanks for clicking on the video. All right, so we are on episode 11 of this great value version of Girlfriends. The writing is Tyler Perry. It's Tyler Perry. So this episode opens up with Gary sitting in Andy's living room. Okay, so we're at Andy's place, and he's asking her where she's been, and Andy tells him he doesn't have the right to that answer. And I immediately started laughing. I said to myself, Crazy Gary is doing a good job, in my opinion. I have to say he's the strongest actor on the show. It is what it is. So Crazy Gary said that, he has several copies of her keys. She said, I took my key back from you. I made several copies. Didn't it, Andy, aren't you a lawyer? You're the dumbest lawyer I know. Didn't it dawn on you? Let me change the locks, maybe. No? You took your key back. You wanted Crazy Gary to come back. Anyway, so Andy is asking him to leave, and then it dawned on me, she really is in love with Crazy Gary. Even though he is crazy, all the stuff that happened with his wife, all the stuff that Andy has now found out about Gary, what turns you on about this? Whatever, it's her choice. So Gary said that he wants his money, point blank, period. And he wants to know, who was coming over, because remember, Andy was leaving a voicemail for Paris to come on over. Okay. Now, this dialogue was too long and drawn out, as usual with Tyler Perry and this particular show, and I'm sure others. So Andy, she doesn't want to end things with Gary, she says. She says, who says it's over? She says she needs to process this. You don't need to process crazy. Crazy is as crazy does. And Gary does not hide his crazy. Is it me? Andy goes to open the door because, she wants Gary to get out and leave. And of course, a typical, guess who shows up? Paris. He appears. Hey, I was texting you to let you know I'm on my way. And Andy was really about to leave her apartment with Paris. She was about to leave Crazy Gary in her house and walk off with Paris. Then the boys get to fighting. Again, Andy is the coveted one, as usual. The boys are fighting over her. I feel like Paris has no idea what he's getting himself into. You better listen to your mama, Paris. You're best to listen to your mama. Anyway, so Fatima, we shift gears and we see that she's home from her girls' night, and she finds that Zach is not at her place. So he's at the construction site, right? So Zach is in his feelings because the corny lawyer man, Hayden, said to him, he kind of basically threatened him. So Zach is kind of staying away from Fatima because he doesn't want to lose this opportunity. Anyway, we shift gears. We see Karen. She arrives home, and Ron is there at her place like he promised he would be, right? So they cuddle, and he says that he smells love in the air, and I'm not here for that either. It's just corny. I just feel that there's something up with Aaron, and Tyler Perry may wait until the season finale to reveal it, his hidden crazy. Who knows? Or it may just stay like this, just dry. Back to Andy's place. So Paris is icing his little knuckles and tells Andy that she deserves so much more. She deserves better than to be with a guy like Gary. Does she? She decided to get involved with this married man. Why does she always leave that out? When she's talking to people. You're a whore. A whore. Anyway. She thanks Paris. She says, thank you so much. And then she tells him, I'm kind of tired, and she wants to go to bed. So he's pissed. He's like, man, I just engaged in fisticuffs with this crazy dude, and now you about to send me on my way? So he leaves. He's a gentleman, so he leaves. Then we see Danny and Rodeo. So they're talking, and he is telling Danny that, he doesn't want to be referred to as the white boy, and he also doesn't want to be called Rodeo. Well, Rodeo, I'm still going to call you Rodeo. Because Danny, she's trying to get it in with him. She has handcuffs, and he's like, no, I'm not going down that road. The last time I tried to do the whole handcuff thing, it ended up bad. He tells her that, he's tired and he's going to end up sleeping on the couch, whatever, just dry. On to Maurice. So Sabrina shows up to his place drunk. Okay. And she basically came over to whine and complain about Calvin. Now he tells her do what's best for you, you know. And he even said in the scene, who else is sick of Calvin and Sabrina's BS? Raise your hand. And I raised both my hands. I did. I participated in the episode. Anyway, so Maurice tells her, you know, what happened with Alonzo at the bank. You know, Alonzo showed up when Maurice was leaving the bank in the previous episode. And in some Tyler Perry unrealistic plot way, Maurice has access to the bank's surveillance on his personal computer at home. Okay, I guess, whatever. And it shows that Alonzo is still laying outside the bank next to his car. So Sabrina, she's scared, she's concerned, and she's like, oh my God, he might be dead. What if he's dead? And of course, Maurice doesn't care. Listen, you run up and you got done up. It is what it is, right? Speaking of Calvin, oh God, he's in bed with the girl that he was at the restaurant with. So he is so in love with Sabrina that he can't be intimate with this new girl. And she is really counseling him and telling him that Sabrina loves him and, you know, she may not really understand a guy like him. He asked her, can you hold me? Let's spoon. Whatever. That was just totally weird. Back to Andy. Now she's in her room, right? And she hears noise coming from her living room, only to walk out and see Gary again in her apartment. Like, girl, you couldn't put a piece of board over your door. Nothing. So he poured himself a drink and everything. So he's sitting there and he's, woe is me. And she tells him, you know, go home. You know, and he says, I ain't got no home, Andy. I lost everything. So she's trying to talk to him, you know, real nice and calm, telling him that she loves him and, oh, you can sleep on the couch. And he starts hugging her and he's sobbing and he's apologizing to her. But Andy begins to say that, you know, she can't breathe, but he doesn't let her go. And I'm saying to myself, is Andy passed out? Like, what's going on here? I didn't expect anything. It's Tyler Perry writing, right? Shifting gears back to Fatima. So she goes to the construction site to find Zach asleep at the little construction site. So she's trying to get him to come back to her house begging. Here's what I don't get. Fatima seems to be she's an accomplished woman. She has a good job. She got a little part-time hustle, you know, well put together, well spoken. Seems like an educated woman. Why is she begging for Zach to be with her? A complete and total stranger that she just wants to give a chance. She wants to give him a chance. What is Tyler Perry? Who's your influence? Who do you see do that? I mean, people do it all the time, but it's just weird. Anyway, Zach tells Fatima, look, that he doesn't want to mess up this opportunity, you know, with this job, so he won't be returning to her home. So the corny lawyer man, Hayden, warned him to stay away from Fatima or else, right? So Zach basically is taking heed unbeknownst to Fatima. So that's really what's going on. Now back at the bank, Simple, Sabrina, and Maurice, they pull up to find Alonzo where Maurice pretty much put him to sleep. So Simple Sabrina, she wants to call the ambulance and Maurice answers her phone and then he peels off and leaves her, okay? And now that was hilarious because he's like, look, if Alonzo is not breathing, I do not want to be here when the ambulance and the police come. So back to Karen, you know, she's laid up with Aaron and his phone is like going off. And he says it's a call from one of his clients from his men's group. Now, we just found out in this episode that Aaron has a men's group because we don't really see him do much of anything but show up at Karen's house, right? Anyway, so he answers the phone and it's Crazy Gary on the line. Tyler, what the hell is this, Tyler? What is this? So he says that, you know, oh, she was with another man. This is what Gary is telling Aaron. She's with another man. He's like all in a panic and he's driving. So I'm saying to myself, is Andy dead? Like, let's get on with it already. So Aaron is trying to get Gary to like pull over and calm down. And now names are being called. So First Lady Karen, she's sitting in the bed and she's looking shook because she heard that Aaron is talking to Gary and Andy's name was mentioned. So she says, is that Gary Borders? And Aaron's like, yeah, you know, this is your Andy? She's like, yes, that's my Andy. Aaron then realizes that the Andy, you know, that Gary loves, that he's in love with, is Karen's friend, you know. So Karen, she calls Andy on the phone, no answer. Then Gary, it seems like he drives his car off a cliff into a wall or something. And then we hear a crash, the phone disconnects, and then Karen hops up to go see about Andy as she always does. You know, it's really interesting how all these women, the writing is very inconsistent. It's bad. We know that, right? But it's like the women are like broken, bitter, mean, dumb, insecure. You know what I'm saying? The men are aggressive, violent, except for Rodeo. He's none of the above. Isn't that interesting? Rodeo is just like this innocent, aloof character that, is trying to figure things out. Doesn't pose a threat to anything or anyone. Isn't that interesting? But all the other men, that's not necessarily the case. So the next episode, we're going to find out if Andy is with us or not. I'm sure she is. It was a great cliffhanger. But again, this episode was poorly written, and the inconsistencies just keep bleeding through time and time again. All right, so drop down in the comments. Let me know what you think of episode 11, The Hot Stove. That's the title of the episode. I can't. And episode 12 will be up right after this. All right, signing off. Until next time, folks. Peace.